Okay, so moving on. So what is a state long-term care insurance partnership program? So what is the partnership program, you're probably wondering. Well, the federal government has limited states' ability to pass Medicaid partnership plans since 1993. Now, the Deficit Reduction Act now allows states to pass partnership program laws. So partnership programs will help states' Medicaid programs by encouraging consumers to protect themselves from a spend-down situation through long-term care insurance. So that spend-down situation was in our example, like John and Mary. It'll prevent him from going through that 51-month penalty. It's a partnership between the state and the plan. So how does a partnership plan work? Well, so a person purchases the long-term care insurance policy that meets the state's guidelines. When you need long-term care, your policy will pay first. If your policy benefits run out, then you can apply for Medicaid. Medicaid will allow you to protect assets equal to the insurance benefit payments. So here's the example. If you buy a policy, an insurance policy for $100,000 in coverage, you will be allowed to protect $100,000 in assets. Even if you deplete it and go on Medicaid, that $100,000, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. You can give it to your child, your beneficiary, So its protected assets are also exempt from state recoveries. So like I just said. Federal guideline policies. Any tax qualified plan, long-term care insurance policy can be certified under partnership plan, but it has to be tax qualified. States may not require specific terms or benefits of policies unless they require the same for all long-term care insurance policies sold in their state. The goal is for future reciprocal, I have a hard time saying that word, reciprocity recognition among states. So they go state to state. Federal guidelines, they have to have inflation coverage, and this is state by state. I have a link on my website that will show you where your state's at in this partnership. Most states have already jumped on board. Based on the individual's age when they purchase their policy, if a person today now is age 60 or under, they must have compound inflation. If they're age 61 to 75, they must have a level of inflation coverage on their policy. If they're older than 76 and they can still get the coverage, that's awesome. No inflation coverage is required. So basically you need to have, the most states I've looked at, you need to have at least 3.5% compound inflation on a policy, if you're under 60. So my opinion, I think that most, if not all states will pass the legislation. I know most are working on it. Most have already passed it. So, I mean, that's the best thing. It'll help solve some of the Medicaid budget problems. Most, if not all, companies will rush to get their products on board so they can stay competitive. And the most important thing is consumers should act. They should look at this. They should lock in insurability. It's the same situation with the guy that says, "Oh, I should buy life insurance. I have a family of 3, and I want to make sure that my kids are well covered in case something happens," and he puts it off. Same situation. How do you want to be remembered? That's the biggest thing I always think of. How do you want to be remembered? A person that had their act together, or a person that was a leech that always needed help? So how should this affect your decision regarding long-term care insurance coverage? Well, the Association of Healthcare Internal Auditors expects most companies to reissue policies, so if you currently have a policy in force, so that their clients can take advantage of the new law. Now, like I said before, the old policies, some of them do qualify, but if you have a policy that didn't have any inflation, chances are that plan does not cover. If it wasn't tax qualified, it probably doesn't work either. So it's a good thing to sit down and review this with your financial advisor or financial agent. So companies are shying away from guaranteeing reissues because they want to see some states pass laws to make sure that the policies will be compliant and verify no benefits will have minimums or mandates. However, if your state passes a partnership plan following current federal law, most policies should be certified as long as inflation guidelines are met before. Like I said, if the inflation's met, tax qualified, shouldn't have a problem. It should just fall right into place. So, potential pitfalls: your state may not pass a partnership plan legislation. There are a couple states that haven't passed it yet. Some states are in the process still. Your state may pass legislation that requires different benefits than the Deficit Reduction Act requires. A long-term care insurance policy may not be certified under your state's partnership plan too. That's the other pitfall that might happen. So, and lastly here, this is the last slide. Potential benefits: your state has an incentive to pass a partnership legislation that follows the Deficit Reduction Act. Your insurance company has an incentive to become compliant with it. So if you follow the inflation guideline, there's a good chance your policy will be covered under the new laws. That means you could protect some, if not all, of your assets from a long-term care situation, so like a Medicaid spend down. You can lock in your insurability today with a minimal expense. We'll talk about that later on taxes and other incentives, how we can make this very inexpensive policy. There have been discussion that having long-term care insurance coverage may protect children under FILIA laws. I'm going to go over FILIA laws here quick. Basically, FILIA laws, if you do Google search them, it's basically saying if a parent, like our John and Mary case, if a parent goes broke, the state will go back after the child for the money. That's a FILIA law, and that's where you're going to run into people. You're going to run into children divorcing their parents to get around this FILIA law. I know it's passed in a couple of states, but it's still it's a gray area. FILIA laws are. So, but basically that's how they work. There are many reasons to look into long-term care insurance. Potential partnerships are just icing on the cake. You get the insurance coverage, and you also get the dollar-for-dollar match with the state in the Medicaid situation. That, and as far as taxes, you get a long-term care insurance tax credit there, and I mean that's the way to do it. There's a lot of incentives. But there's a lot of different policies to look at too. There's many different ways to structure policies. Say you want like a cash first policy that gives you cash for right up front. You can do that too. So this is the Deficit Reduction Act. These are some of the laws and changes. If you have any questions, email me or give me a call.